Turning to a whole different topic, the long-awaited DOJ report on the origins of the Russia probe has finally come out, and it's making big headlines like these, clearing the FBI of President Trump's allegations of political bias, finding the FBI was justified to open the Russia probe, and debunking claims of some kind of treasonous anti-Trump witch hunt. But even though the report debunks those Trump claims, it also shines a light on some of the failures of the investigation's practices, especially regarding warrants. The report finding, quote, basic and fundamental failures in aspects of the Bureau's surveillance. NBC News summarizing it as the Inspector General found parts of the warrant system have become, quote, a mess. Now, while the report debunks Donald Trump's main complaint about the Russia probe, Donald Trump's handpicked Attorney General, Bill Barr, is seizing on this warrant issue.
Clear-cut evidence that the dossier that they ultimately relied on to get the FISA warrant was a complete sham. They hid information about the lack of reliability even when they went the first time for the warrant.
A complete sham. Now, let's remember, the surveillance and related investigative techniques began with the 4 Trump campaign advisors, you may recall. 3 of them convicted. And the report found no bias or crimes, but this all has cleared one person, Carter Page. When you compare the names listed in this lengthy report, Flynn comes up about 40 times, Paul Manafort over 200, but Department of Justice investigators citing Carter Page a whopping 614 times, which means Page averages out to twice a page in the report. And over the last 2 years, he spoke with the FBI for over 10 hours, another 6 hours with the House Intelligence Committee, a bevy of television interviews. So what does Carter Page have to say now at this inflection point? Well, this key witness and subject of the audit of DOJ staff, Carter Page, is with me right here, right now, one of his very first interviews since this whole report came out. Thanks for sitting down with me.
Great to be with you again, Ari.
I'm glad to have you back wherever the story goes. I've got my report. It's a thick one. I noticed you brought yours. What do you think is important that comes out of this?
I think first of all, great initial work by the Inspector General. I had concerns just because I hadn't been had the chance to provide any input, and there were some Privacy Act questions. But in the end, it was a great first step. And I think, as you correctly alluded to, and so many Americans have been talking about just really serious, egregious misconduct. And I'm very heartened that Attorney General Barr and the team at DOJ is going to continue looking into this serious issue.
Ben Wittes, who some of our viewers may recall as an analyst, well known in Washington, he writes, now that this has come out, quote, if I were Carter Page, I'd read this report with some grim satisfaction. Page has a right to be pissed off. IG concluded serious errors took place in seeking Page's surveillance orders. The errors were not political. And he's referring to the fact that both things can be true. And this is a nuance that can get lost. I'm reading here from the report, 17, quote, errors or omissions in the Carter Page warrant applications. That's not nothing. But also, quote, no intentional misconduct on the part of the agents. And as I mentioned, no bias. Mm-hmm. Do you then accept that both there were mistakes with you, but there was no larger anti-Trump witch hunt found in this report?
Well, I know there was a witch hunt more broadly in terms of a lot of the direct collusion between outside actors and the FBI and DOJ. And we know this in terms of the significant discussion of Fusion GPS, et cetera, the DNC, and their direct involvement in this. I mean, this is clearly unprecedented in terms of serious election interference. And again,
I understand your view. Do you accept that this report doesn't find an anti-Trump bias on the part of the FBI? Because that's the other thing. I mean, you could kind of divide this whole thing right now into warrants. That's you.
Yes.
And then is the FBI out to treasonously take down Donald Trump? And I read the report. It says no.
Well, like I said, Ari, I think it's a first step, and we'll have to wait and see until we have the full details. I think, as is stated in the report, they had a narrow scope, talking to internal people within DOJ. And I think as we look more broadly, which I know some other people in the U.S. government are now doing, I think we'll have a much clearer picture. I think it's starting a national conversation, and hopefully we'll learn a lot more as this investigation continues.
One of the things that was hard to know in real time, and we've had you on the show more than once and always tried to get your perspective because you learn more when you check with everyone.
Absolutely.
One of the things that was hard for some people to figure out in real time is Carter Page a secret Russian spy conspiring, or is he a person who got swept up in this?
Yeah.
Now, and I want to say this in fairness to you, and we talked about it when you were on the show earlier, both the Mueller report and now this lengthy document that deals with you so many times finds you being swept up, which means, as I put it, you want to put it in plain English, you've been cleared. Yeah. And yet, do you think that Donald Trump makes it harder on people like you? You were at one point advising the campaign. Does he make it harder when after you get cleared, he goes out and asks, as he put it, Ukraine or China to investigate his opponents? Because it kind of then dredges back up the idea that while you're in the clear, Donald Trump seems to really want foreign involvement in dealing with investigations of his rivals.
Yeah. Ari, listen, I've never met candidate Trump, President-elect President Trump ever in my life. So
when you were
I can't speak to,
you were a foreign policy advisor at one time.
Part of a volunteer for
a group,
a large team, But so I can't really speak in terms of factually. All I know is even just based on some of these allegations which are being thrown around, I mean, what we've seen definitively with serious hard evidence here is infinitely more serious in terms of, the wrongdoing and as you said, those 17 areas of misconduct. So again, I think this is just the start. And
you say just the start. If the start of something that leads to greater public understanding or the truth, great.
Yes.
If it's the start of relitigating what now is in here done, that could go both ways. I want to play one of your appearances because I'm glad to talk to you during the investigation. Since it finished, I noticed you haven't done a ton of interviews, but you were on with John Hannity and you're on with me. I think that's great. Let's look at something in that exchange that got some attention with Hannity. Take a look.
Okay.
Do you plan on going after all of these people that did this to you?
Absolutely, Sean. We have a team of attorneys going through that document in great detail and look forward to sharing that with initial thoughts with Chairman Graham and the Senate Judiciary Committee.
What are you getting at?
Well, I think, as I directly alluded to, we're planning some very serious steps, and I have a great team.
Such as?
Well, it's early days. We're all still, as you have been going through this very large document, looking at specific causes of action, but I think it's just overflowing thus far.
But you think you're looking at potentially new ways to sue the government for what you see as the violation of your rights?
And the people that were in conspiracy, essentially, with the government, or at least colluding, right? Going back to that old terminology. So early days, I have a great team, some people that you may know, but we'll see.
And my last question for you. Do you feel a little bit like everyone treated you like maybe you were, out there, and now you've got this report and everyone coming back to you and embracing you? Do you feel vindicated?
I feel like there's a lot that needs to be done for our country. Originally, I was a foreign policy guy, and I thought about great steps that can be done in a foreign policy context for our country, and that's why I was excited to be a volunteer with the Trump campaign. Now, having been in depth in the law, all those questions and controversies we've talked about for years, Ari, I'm excited that we're in the process of doing some serious reforms. And I think the Inspector General's appearance in front of the Senate Judiciary is going to be an important next step in that process.
Well, we're keeping an eye on all of it. The report has a lot of, I would argue, and I've reported bad news for Donald Trump and Bill Barr and some of what they claimed. But it does have a lot of clearance of you, as well as the serious discussions about the warrant issue. So I really appreciate you coming back.
Great to see you, Ari. Thank
Carter
you.
Page,
Thanks,
really appreciate it. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.